Welcome to Poets Have Something to Say. This is an exciting show we have for you today, marking January 1st of 2026. Hard to believe we're there. Laura Selenka is a middle-aged, late-blooming poet. While at UW-Oshkosh, she studied journalism. Quickly, she changed to creative writing with a poetry focus. And out of college, she worked in a hotel hospitality industry, which led to becoming an independent wedding planner. Sounds like a really interesting job. For a while, she focused on raising 3 daughters, rarely taking time to write much more than a grocery list. And then when all of her children were in school, she began to write freelance for the Oshkosh Northwestern. I know the paper well. It's the paper I grew up with, as I grew up in Oshkosh as well. Several years into that, the newspaper industry began downsizing. Prospects for a full career looked bleak. That plot twist led her to reconsider her path in life. And then she did a reset and she began volunteering at the Salvation Army. She quickly discovered that attending to the needs of those patrons was a fulfillment of her life's calling. And in the full circle moment, as she calls it, she began journaling and writing poetry to ease her heart and mind at the end of heavy days. Most of her work does touch on addiction, poverty, homelessness. It's super important topics, I think, for today's world. She plans to publish her first chapbook this year, so very exciting to welcome in Laura Selenka. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Wow, very cool. And I understand you have kind of a kinship with Henry David Thoreau, which I should read more because what a wonderful thinker he was. Perhaps it seemed to me that I had several more lives to live. I could not spare any more time for that one. That's a quote from Thoreau. So you take your motivation from Thoreau. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the show, but as we do customarily in the program, we have the poet read one of their works. So again, welcome to the show, Laura.
Thank you. I thought I would open up with Fool's Gold.
Okay.
You and your boyfriend came to my mind, his steady gaze that follows you into your peaceful moments, smiling at someone's joke or tasting a ripe peach. When I learned that newborn fawns separated from does lie still as the mud furrows in farm fields, they wait for love's return in a shelter of silent confidence that danger can be outlasted, even should it approach as farm machinery, the predatory creep of blades and weight, crushing quiet bodies, dreaming of soft grass and milk. Thank you.
Beautiful. Yeah. So what motivated you to write that piece? What was really behind that?
This piece really came to mind, or really was developed by a friendship that I had created with a client who was experiencing domestic violence. Mm-hmm. And also a really great dinner with my uncle. So many of us in the Midwest have these uncles who just know a little bit about everything. And he happened to be talking about fawns being left in fields, and they just sit and wait for their mothers. And many of them, end up being killed by the farm machinery. So it all just kind of fell together. I think a lot of things in life, in our regular interactions with people, are poems just waiting to happen.
Yeah, the everyday, I love that. I love how you say that. The everyday life occurrences can branch into poetry, and really we never know when. How do you know when you have a real poet? This is a deep question to start off here. How do you know when you have a really good poetic idea to go with?
For me, it's just something that's almost like a flame. It's just burning. I know I just need to get it on paper, even if it's just a concept, even if it's just, again, a moment that I've witnessed or shared with somebody. It feels important, and I need to journal it. I need to, get it solidified on paper and I am still old-fashioned. I do like to write on paper,
Oh yeah.
but I need it to become permanent and have a form that I can look at.
We have writers in our North Fond du Lac Wordsmiths Club that still just love that old uh, method of getting out that legal notebook and just, writing away. And
There's
sometimes
just nothing like the feeling of your ink going across the paper.
I know maybe I'm giving away my age, but I just love in some that tangible piece of paper. And some of my best stuff, I think I write that way, and I'm sure it's with you. We're with Laura Selenka. She is an Oshkosh-based poet. She's in the Oshkosh Writers Club, and thrilled to have her as a guest here on the show. So could you take us into that journey? We in the intro, we talked about your journalism. You were with the Northwestern, and so how did you branch that journalism into other forms of writing? What was the bridge that helped you with that?
I think I'm the kind of person that just kind of I didn't bridge anything. It just I stumbled through things.
Okay, well that's honest.
But I'm very, very go with the flow,
Yeah.
So I tried something and loved it. I loved doing the freelance assignments. There were a lot of poems hidden in those stories too. I remember doing a story about the Nutcracker at the Pain, and I was able to interview grandfather Drosselmeyer, who plays. If you're not familiar with the Pain, they actually have some events that are ticketed events where you get a tour through the castle, and it's through every step of the story, and the characters come out and interact with you, and it's very cool. And I just loved the idea of grandfather Drosselmeyer interacting for his shift, and then putting on his regular street clothes and just walking out the door. And nobody knew that's who he had been. And he was, he's so real especially for the children at that tour.
Oh,
So,
that's cool. Yeah.
I'll have to go back maybe and think about some of those past experiences where there are some poems still hiding.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And yeah, my wife and I have been through. I forget what it was called, but this was a couple years ago. The Story of Light or something, where they have all these light images, and the pain is wonderful. I know that's years ago. My parents, who I grew up in Oshkosh, and my parents were longtime supporters of the Pain Art Center. What a great force in the community the Pain Art Center is. And if you haven't checked it out, they're online. And they usually have like a show they have a Christmas show, the Nutcracker. They have various shows throughout the year. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So even just in my community, there, were a lot of opportunities and a lot of things to keep my mind thinking poetically. But then, yeah, when I was ready to maybe work full time in the industry was not ready for me. It was moving on. So I had to, come up with some other idea, some other plan for what did I want to do for the rest of my life, which was a little overwhelming. And I decided to volunteer for a while. And then I stumbled into all of that, which really ends up being the most fulfilling part of my life, other than raising my own children. But this is amazing to work with the clients that come into our facility.
Laura, so who would you be, or besides Henry David Thoreau, do you have any other literary influences that you say, well, this is one of my major literary mentors?
I've always loved Maya Angelou.
Oh, gosh,
and I was
yeah.
actually able to see her speak at the Lawrence University. It must have been sometime in the late 90s.
Oh, nice.
I drove there in a rainstorm and lost my windshield wiper. And, it was just one of those 20-year-old kids that was risking their life on 41 just to, see one of their idols make a speech. But it was worth it.
There's a poem in the making, too. Driving rain, loss of windshield wiper, my passion to see my poet hero, that kind of thing. Wow. Yeah, I love Maya Angelou, too. As a matter of fact, when my parents moved out of Oshkosh, my mom had a collection of poetry books, probably 100 of them.
Wow.
And I took like the best 35 of them. And one of them was a beautiful book by Maya Angelou. So I do go to that. Beautiful. Yeah, absolutely wonderful. What is your writing? We sit down. I ask this to a lot of my guests here. What does your writing process look like? Do you have to sit yourself down in front of the computer, or does it just come to you? Is it all times of the day, or what does it look like? Your writing process, your creative.
Well, again, because I really had a resurgence in my connection with poetry once I started volunteering.
Right.
There were just too many emotional experiences that I was having, and I knew instinctively I needed to journal. So my writing process starts with journaling, which is just obviously raw and really emotional. From that point, then I look back and I single out, what are the key pieces to what I've journaled. And in order to turn those experiences into poetry, I feel that I need to really get to the bottom of what the concepts are so that I don't have to talk about somebody else's personal story in a way that I don't have a business to be talking about their personal story. So I try to really focus on my side of the interaction, my experience. I think I would really like to do some work in the community with people who are on the outside of trauma, but also feeling a little bit traumatized themselves. So people who have addicts in their family that they love very, very much, but so they're not experiencing the addiction. They, I can't write about the addiction, but what I write about is loving somebody, watching them struggle, and how that makes me feel. So that's just kind of where I don't know. That's where I build my pieces out of.
It's beautiful, and with these open mics, I've been to several in Oshkosh, and we've had open mics here in the Fond du Lac area, and sometimes this draws folks who are really, I don't want to say injured, I guess we could say injured by trauma, or somebody they know is being affected by trauma, and poetry can really tell us a bit about how poetry can help with family connection and drawing us closer to at least understanding trauma. Or do you agree? Do you agree that can be a good force in
well, it's absolutely
understanding?
A force. I don't know if you ever really understand trauma, but you at least have an outlet. And I think that there are resources for people who have experienced the domestic violence, who have experienced the addiction. But then there's this whole other circle of people who are also struggling because we love those people. So poetry or any writing, it really is, any art is just such a great outlet for those feelings.
Absolutely. So you've got a chapbook coming up, right? And
well,
tell us,
yes,
is that
we're all on
coming
it
up?
now. You're all in on this because now it's got to happen because it's been said publicly.
Oh, there we go. The cat is out of the bag now.
Right. I have to find the cat and the bag, but sooner or later it's going to come together. I have a lot of pieces that I think I can, make into this first collection. It's just a very overwhelming process.
Oh, yeah.
And not a lot of specific direction how to accomplish. So I really try to pull from the experience of other friends who have also gone through the publishing process. But even within that, everyone has their own nuances. So it's a goal, and I have a lot of really supportive friends, and especially friends in the poetry community who are very supportive, that seem to think that I can get this done. and I can get it done this year. And so I'm gonna believe them, and it's gonna happen.
That is so awesome, and I wish you the best of luck. I myself, I'm getting something together called a Tapestry of Moments, and I'm looking forward to releasing my second poetry collection coming up, hopefully in the next few weeks.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. I've tried the publishing world. I presented my proposals, but I've decided to just self-publish this one. But I was lucky enough to have Nick Charkis do the forward to this book, and he's an amazing person. I got to meet him at the Oshkosh Lake Fly a couple of years back. But getting to know writers, and that's part of the fun, isn't it? Is when you go.
Absolutely. I was hoping we would have a chance to talk about community, because
Yeah.
it has made all the difference for me. I just, as a writer, it helps you develop, honestly, even just participating in the many readings that are available I go up to Appleton quite frequently. I've been down to Fond du Lac, and we also have some readings now here in Oshkosh. But there's an accountability involved, because I feel that I need to present something new, that I'm not asking people to listen to me repeat the same thing over and over.
Right.
So it kind of pushes me through some momentum, and just the connections, even just understanding the variety of what poetry can mean to different poets. There's a lot of different styles, a lot of different voices, and they're all appreciated. They're all welcomed. It's a wonderful atmosphere.
You just hit it on the head too. A welcoming of all voices. In our club, the Wordsmiths, we're very honored to have some super talented poets, more talented than myself. I'll say that right away. People like G. Anthony and G.A. Shinoa, who's he's in the poetry world. He is one of the top people. Yeah, and he's been at Oshkosh a few times. I know that
Yes.
G.
Yep, I know Gary. He's fantastic.
G is working on an anthology too. I'm sure you've probably
I'm
heard
actually
of that.
in that anthology.
You are. That is.
I'm very excited about his anthology, and even more exciting for me, he opened up his request to photography as well.
Cool.
And one of my daughters submitted some pieces that he accepted. So not only am I in his anthology, but my daughter is too.
Yeah, G. If you haven't met G. Anthony, he has got this peaceful presence and this wonderfully welcoming personality. And
absolutely, he's an encourager. I love it.
Yeah.
He and I have been invited to be feature readers at the August meeting in Appleton of Poetry Unlocked.
Oh, nice.
So that would be the second Monday of August.
I was honored enough to be one of the featured readers out there. Was it last April, I think?
Oh yeah, I saw you. Yep.
Okay, well, small. I should have gone up and said hello. But and Kat does a great. There's so many pieces to this wonderful mosaic that we're building here in the area. When you talk about D.G. Clearing and James Hamilton, and then you got Kat, who does such a wonderful job in Appleton. It seems like to me,
the Appleton Poet Laureate. Yep.
Yeah,
she's
Appleton
been doing a great job with that.
Yeah, and then D.G. Clearing is nominated for the Green Bay Poet Laureate, which is
exciting.
Super. So we're all hoping, and I think all of his friends, you and I included, are wishing the best to D.G. Clearing. I first saw D.G. at the Oshkosh open mic, was maybe 3 years ago, and frankly, I didn't know what to think of him. It's like, wow, this guy's different. But then as I listen to more open mics and more of his stuff, he is just like the ultimate in creative. That he combines the performance with the poetry. What are your thoughts on creating performance with poetry, and how do those go together?
I guess that really comes down to just, again, that there are so many different styles, and they're all welcome.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, DG is a joy to watch perform, and he puts so much thought into what he does, and I love it. And I love having had some chances to talk with him about his creative process, um, and I find it very fascinating. I mean, the same could be said for James Hamilton, also just a really, a barn burner of a performer.
Mm.
Um,
Oh yeah.
but then, our regular, just stand up and present your piece, that's very welcome also. And also, I think having that balance and that mixture within a poetry reading is part of what keeps your attention, and is also very fulfilling by the end, because you've been presented a lot of different styles and a lot of different things to think about.
Absolutely. We're in the last few moments of our interview with Laura Selenka, and the show does go quickly. Quick, I wanted to ask you before I forgot here. What's your advice for people rediscovering their creative voice later in life? I know you and I probably have that in common. That I started writing guitar music in my late 40s, and that kind of slowly evolved into poetry. And we talked a bit about your evolution. Do you have advice on, let's say, somebody in their early 50s that thinking, well, boy, I have to have this creative outlet, but I don't know if my poetry is good enough. What would be your advice to them?
Let's see. I think I don't want to repeat a lot of what I said
Right.
about community, but I think
Sure.
a lot of that you need to learn about your craft, but you also need to learn about whatever the rules are within that craft,
Right.
which you will learn socially from communicating and building relationships with other poets.
Mm-hmm.
In Wisconsin, the Wisconsin Fellowship of Poets, that was my first step, was to attend one of their conferences. And wow, it really reconnected me on deeper levels than I had really even thought, more than even just my journaling was giving to me.
Great.
And then a lot of that has to do with the other poets that you meet, and you realize that there are a lot of people on this journey, and they all have ups and downs, and they're all just trying to figure this out. So you're not struggling. You don't have to, flounder around by yourself. You can flounder around with all the rest of us who are floundering.
There you go. And it's really an accepting community.
It is. That saying, comparison is the thief of all joy. I think
Yeah.
the opposite would be, encouragement. Encouragement multiplies your joy, because I feel so excited for my friends who are finding success. I don't feel competition. I feel excitement for them. And I hope that people feel that way towards me too.
Well, that's wonderful. And as we do with the program, customarily, if you've got one short poem to take us out here today.
Sure, thank you. I will read Dance Lesson. You lay your cheek against cool soil, nap in decomposing maple, pine, needles and rocks and dime bag pillows, align your scent with compost, absorb Earth's energy, carry a ground grub on your neck until our embrace transfers that tacky ball into my hair, settles at my neck's hollow, where words echo, where I remember a game children play in a circle, passing an orange with chins, sharing space without stigma, without poison. Dignity requires this worm be returned, where the ground crack whispers, drink from my spring. When I gave you water, you laughingly told me, if I could dance, I'd twirl you. I assure you, you can. You do.
It's a Dance Lesson by Laura K. Selenka. Beautiful.
Thank you.
We'll end on that, and I look forward to interacting with you. Especially, I've got to make it up to NAMI. I have not. I plead.
It's another great opportunity here, right in Oshkosh, for poetry reading.
I plead guilty on that one. But I do want to make it up there, and so many opportunities. I really want to, and I'm working with the library director up in North Fond du Lac to, we're going to have something major coming up in the spring. I'm not sure what it's
Ooh,
going to be
exciting.
called. So you're certainly welcome, but it's going to be in the form of an open mic, or perhaps me sharing from my new poetry book and sort of a combo of that. So I look forward to that and sharing poetry. And good luck with the chapbook in
Thank you.
2020.
Thank you very much.
That's so awesome. Laura Selenka, good. And we'll maybe catch up with you in a year or two to see how you're doing too.
That would be fantastic. Thank you so much for this opportunity, Jeffrey.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was a joy to have you on the show. You're listening to Poets Have Something to Say, and our guest, Laura Selenka. But we just have some fantastic writers on this show. It's my honor to display them and help them in their visibility. Thanks again, Laura.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Okay, have a great day. There's Laura Selenka, and what a fun show that was. It does go fast. Poets have something to say, and if you have somebody that you would like to feature on the show, feel free to contact me through the Facebook North Fond du Lac Poet Laureate site. And if you're not a member of that, certainly sign up to do that. We've got some great guests coming up. Mary Weiner, she is a brilliant poet from Fond du Lac, in the next couple months. And also we'll be featuring the Milwaukee Poet Laureate Shelley Conley in the coming months. So looking forward to that. And thank you again for joining us on Poets Have Something to Say.